So how do we get there? The main challenge of playing a proper up bow staccato is the tone. Is the bow grabbing the string and executing the note the way it is supposed to each and every time? Rhythm is also a challenge, as well as simply playing the right number of notes, and so we will talk about these as well as how to maintain the bow hold while performing the up bow staccato. If you haven't yet, download the long ago exercises from my website, thecello.online, so that you can follow along as I will be using it to teach the up bow staccato as it occurs in the long ago variation in Suzuki Cellobuch 2. This is an important technique in our arsenal, which is why it is introduced so early at this magnitude like it is at the beginning of Book 2. An up bow staccato is a hooked bowing technique whereby you play 2 or more staccato notes in a single bow direction, like this. Up bow staccatos can actually go for much longer, 3, 4, or more notes, but in this piece, as an introduction to them, the variation keeps it to just 2 notes in a row after the down bow. Tone. I mentioned in the beginning that this is the main challenge. Why? The repeated up bow motion makes it more challenging than simply changing from up to down or vice versa, because you have to stop and restart in the same direction. This is the definition of the hooked bow, of the up bow staccato, that we are rearticulating the note, rearticulating the bow. The bow literally stops very quickly and then restarts again very quickly. It takes a lot of energy to stop and restart, and it takes then more energy to go in the same direction you were just going. We are having to use our hands and fingers much differently with the repeated up bows. When we are just going down and then up, we get to lead the bow change with the big muscles of our arms, swinging like a pendulum, and we can also move with the instrument itself to help. With an up-up motion, I can't move in that direction twice with the whole cello. There is no natural weight shift to help me, no back and forth, no gravity to help. It all comes from the action, from the technique. First, we have to learn to grab the string going in the same direction multiple times. So we use the string wiggle, like so, and do a very slow motion up bow staccato. You can do this for now without the metronome, as many repetitions as you want. You're just trying to grab the string and make it pop with the wiggle and colle bow stroke going in the same direction multiple times, and at least 2 times, since that is what you will have to do in the variation. If you don't know about the string wiggle exercise or the colle bow stroke exercise, I'll put a link here in the cards and in the description. If you need a refresher on that, you can go watch it. But I use it a lot here on the channel, so I'm going to keep going here with long ago. Listen as always for a clear tone. If you hear any sliding, any wolf-like tones or overtones, then you need to get more weight, more bow hair into the string. Make sure that you are holding the bow correctly, and you may want to just go ahead and do a bow hold review here on the channel while you are starting to learn this long ago variation. Most students at this point need a refresher on the bow hold. I would double down on the hand hang method of finding the bow hold that I have mentioned a few times on the channel. To really grab the string consistently with a great tone, the wrist needs to stay up, so the weight is really coming down on top of the bow, and so the hand needs to hang. This is the best position for the bow hand for up staccato bows. The other reason the hand needs to hang is the stopping and starting motion itself. The hand and fingers together are doing a kind of mini bow retake to get the bow set and then get it started again. The big muscles are helping, but the bulk of the action is happening here in the hand. If the hand is not hanging, the bow hand might twist and turn all sorts of directions as it does its mini retake, and this is where the hand comes off the bow or slides around during the up bow staccato. If my wrists were flat, then the rotation for this technique would be side to side, like this. You can see where that's going to make my bow go pretty crooked if I'm trying to do this motion this way, yes? For the up bows, the up bow staccato, my bow needs to travel really straight on the string, as straight as possible to grab the string in the way that I need it to for the great tone. Since this is two different directions entirely, all right, hand hanging versus wrist flat, it's no wonder that the hand comes sliding off the bow or is unable to maintain the bow hold. If the hand is hanging, then the motion of the fingers, this mini retake, is more in line with the direction that the bow needs to travel. This is why it's always recommended to double down on this posture and maybe even exaggerate it when doing up bow staccatos. Before we get started with the exercises, here is a test you can give your bow hand to see if it's holding the bow properly. I call it the bow push-up. You should be able to extend your fingers down and up and maintain their position using two hands holding the upper part of the bow in the left hand. If you're having trouble doing this, it means you need some more work on maintaining a proper bow hold with the correct part of your fingers on the frog and the stick. The flat squishy part at the end of your fingers is what should be touching and grabbing the bow. It doesn't mean you shouldn't practice the exercises with me. You are here because you want to learn this, and so let's do it together. But it does mean that you need to stop a lot and check your bow hold and double check the placement of the fingers. This is the beauty of video. You can pause it as much as you like. Now you are ready to start the scale exercise. Remember the points we have been discussing. Listen for a great tone, make sure you are maintaining the bow hold, and stop to fix the bow hold as much as possible. If you think you are struggling with the tone during the scales, go back and repeat the string wiggle exercise as much as you need until you feel really confident about the tone. The scale exercises offer a lot of repetition to help build up your up bow staccato technique, so make sure you are playing through each one and only moving on to the next one when you can play all the way through with a great tone, not dropping any notes and maintaining a consistent bow hold. We're going to play them at two different tempos, up at concert tempo and at a slower practice tempo. Be sure and use the timestamps to get to where you need to, and use the gearbox to dial in the tempo that you need.